Okay, so sorry that this is like really poor lighting, but I am in my bedroom and I have one light bulb. Thank you for dimming. But I have one light bulb in the ceiling and I have the lamp over there, and I also have my ring light on. If you look, you can actually see my ring light in my thing. Sorry, everybody and their mom wants to talk to me right now. It's crazy. Anyway, we're gonna do a library haul because I have a lot of library stuff. A lot of library stuff. And so we'll go ahead and do the movies first. So the movie I have is The Good Neighbor, Fear What's Next Door, which I have to watch this here soon. I have no idea what it's about. It just looked good, and it says The Good Neighbor, and it's got a picture of like a fire, it looks like, or some type of like issue. It's got Jonathan Rhys Meyers, Luke Klangtank, Eloise Smith, and Bruce Davison. I have no idea who those people are. Then I have Where the Crawdads Sing. Everybody knows this book, so now it's also a movie based on the global best-selling phenomenon. I have no idea. I have no idea about what this is gonna entail or anything because I have not read the book yet. I just picked the book up from the thrift store the other day, which is where I got this cute little oversized nightshirt. Then we have Nope, which is Jordan Peele's movie. I wasn't really interested in this, but they have a weird thing going on right now. You'll see in a second. You'll understand in a second. So you have Nope. Then we have Fall, which is another one of those movies, Fear Reaches New Heights. And then I found a movie called Monstrous, which says The Past Can Pull You Under, with Christina Ricci. I have no idea what this is about either. Then we have a movie called Men, from the writer-director of, I don't know what that says, Annihilation, a thrilling horror masterpiece. And then we have Men. So, yeah. If you get my drift of what's going on here, they're all single titles. Single word titles. Nope. Fall. Monstrous. Men. I don't know. That's weird. That's something I've noticed lately. Alright. Now we're going to get into the books, but I need a minute to reorganize the books. Okay. So the way that I have these situated is my big stack right here is like my depression and anxiety books, things like that, things that deal with my diagnosis. I wanted to learn more about it. So the first one we have is Notes on a Nervous Planet by Matt Haig. He's from the author of How to Stop Time. Basically what this is it says, the world is messing with our minds. Rates of stress and anxiety are rising. A fast nervous planet is creating fast and nervous lives. We are more connected and yet we feel more alone. And we are encouraged to worry about everything from world politics to our body mass index. After experiencing years of anxiety and panic attacks, these questions became urgent matters of life and death for Matt Haig, and he began to look for the link between what he felt in the world around him. Is a personal and vital look at how to feel happy, human, and whole in the 21st century. This is like panic attacks and anxiety based. Then we have a book says, I'm telling the truth, but I'm lying. by Bassie Ikpi. No idea. I looked this up and it came across as throughout her early childhood in Nigeria and adolescence in Oklahoma, Bassie lived with an overload of emotions, cycling between extreme euphoria and deep depression, sometimes within the course of a single day. In her early 20s, Bassie became a spoken word artist and traveled with HBO's Def Poetry Jam, channeling her experiences into art. But beneath the facade of the confident performer, the symptoms from her childhood were building, and Bassie's mental health was in precipitous decline, culminating in hospitalization and diagnosis of bipolar 2. It breaks open our understanding of mental health by giving us intimate access to her own, exploring shame, confusion, medication, and family in the process. It looks at how mental health impacts every aspect of our lives, how we appear to others, and most important to ourselves, and challenges our preconceptions about what it means to be normal. It's viscerally raw and honest. The result is an exploration of the stories we tell ourselves to make sense of who we are, and the ways as honest as we try to be. Each of these stories is also a lie. It says, a part of me was writing nonfiction short stories about things I remembered, while another part was preserving the lies I tell myself to ensure the truth doesn't kill me. This book is about those truths and the ways in which we parcel fact in order to survive. So this is a book about deep depression in short story form. Then we have a book on depression, Understanding Depression, a solid resource for those who know depression personally and for those who want to understand them, by Patricia Ainsworth, which is a medical doctor. Nothing too exciting. It has long been a scourge of mankind, an equal opportunity illness. It exempts no one based on race, sex, creed, religion, social status, or nation of origin. It affects 1 in 5 of us. Its potentially lethal outcome, suicide, is the third leading cause of death among American teenagers. What is this illness that costs us $44 billion each year? What does it look like? Is it moodiness? Is it the result of a character flaw? Can we just snap out of it? Explores the reality of the illness from the author's twin perspectives as a psychiatrist and as a family member who experienced the tragedy of depression firsthand. Using examples from her practice, she discusses the different types of depression, the kinds of people at risk, and the risk factors of suicide. Using understandable terms, she looks at the way the brain works, how the body communicates with it, and how in depression, as recent discoveries have shown, the process fails. It's only half the battle. Talking personal responsibility for fighting the beast is equally important. Treatment methods discussed here include various forms of psychotherapy, different classes of antidepressant medications, and the controversial subjects of shock treatment and involuntary treatment. It offers tips for fighting depression day by day. Finally, the book takes a look at the cutting-edge research that holds promise for better management of depression and at new weapons to combat it. She's a psychiatrist. Patricia Ainsworth is a psychiatrist in private practice and is an assistant professor in the Department of Psychiatry and Human Behavior at the University of Mississippi Medical Center. So this deals with a whole bunch of it. What are you doing? No, ma'am. 1 second. Alright. Next we have a book on insomnia by Marina Benjamin. Okay, now this book is absolutely stunning, and I don't understand why it has to be such a stunning looking book for a book about insomnia. But it's absolutely stunning. It's got this silver, I was going to say gold foiling, but it's silver foiling. So it looks like a bunch of stars and whatnot. This is literally what it says. It's a book about insomnia. An exquisite meditation on time, the dark hours, and the complexities of long-time love. Wait, what? Insomnia is on the rise. Villainous and unforgiving is the enemy of energy and focus, the thief of our response. But can insomnia be an ally too, a validator of the present moment, of edginess and creativity? Marina Benjamin takes on her personal experience of the condition, her struggles with it, her insomniac highs, and her dawning awareness that states of sleeplessness grant us valuable insights into the workings of our unconscious minds. Although insomnia is rarely entirely welcome, Benjamin treats it less as an affliction than as an encounter she engages with and plumbs. She adds new dimensions to build our understanding of sleep and going without it, and of night and how we perceive darkness. It trips through illuminating material from literature, art, philosophy, psychology, pop culture, and more. Pays particular attention to the relationship between women and sleep. Penelope up all night, unraveling her days, weaving for Odysseus. The pre-Raphaelite artists' depictions of deeply sleeping women and the worries that keep contemporary females awake. It's an intense, lyrical, witty, and humane exploration of a state we too often consider only superficially. So it's a book about not being able to sleep, basically. Next, I have True Stories of Living with Mental Illness. Show Me All Your Scars. This is literally not an anthology, but it's got a bunch of different, it's a short story. 20 Fascinating Journeys Through Madness. What do you do when your father kills himself, or your mother is committed to a psych ward, or your daughter starts hearing voices telling her to harm herself, or when you yourself start hearing such voices? Addressing bipolar disorder, OCD, trichomania, self-harm, PTSD, and other diagnoses. These original true stories vividly depict the difficulties and sorrows, and sometimes, too, the unexpected and surprising rewards of living with mental illness. It's a collection this collection stands as protest against silence and challenges us to create a culture that fosters true mental health. So this is a book about mental illness, all sorts of different types. Next, I have a book that says The Psychopath Test, A Journey Through the Madness Industry by Jon Ronson. I have no idea what this is about. I just picked it up. I don't know if it's actually like going to be like kind of like a test. It's probably not though. It says here, when Jon Ronson looks into a potential hoax being played on some of the world's top scientists, his journey takes him unexpectedly into the heart of the madness industry and the world of psychopaths. He not only does Ronson solve the mystery of the possible hoax, but he also discovers disturbingly that sometimes the personalities at the helm of the madness industry are, with their drives and obsessions, as mad in their own way as those they study, and that relatively ordinary people are more and more defined by their most insane edges. It's a fascinating adventure through the minds of madness. I don't know. I just saw it and I was like, oh, that sounds fun. Next, we have The Girl in the Treehouse by Jennifer Asbenson. Says, imagine growing up in an unfinished geodesic dome home with no heat or running water, wearing the same clothes to school every day, and eating breakfast cereal with warm goat milk. In this whimsical, poetic, and gripping autobiographical account, Jennifer Asbenson describes her abusive, dysfunctional, and chaotic upbringing, her abduction and escape from a serial killer, her years in and out of mental hospitals, her decision to heal herself, and ultimately her path to wholeness. Jennifer tells how, from her youngest years, she learned to retreat into her imagination to develop the ability to survive. It's a profoundly compelling story told with humor, honesty, and without self-pity, of Jennifer's emergence from mental illness and despair to happiness through the power of forgiveness and self-love. So that sounds like a lot of fun. But this is what it looks like. It's really pretty too. Next, we have a book by Halsey, and this is I Believe Me If I Could, a collection of poetry. These are all by Halsey herself. This is all of her poetry and whatnot. Dealing with, what is it that she deals with? I'm not sure. She has some type of mental illness. This was in the mental illness section as well. And if you look, the cover is like two different faces. I think. Maybe? I don't know. The world? No. No, if I look at this the right way, I think it's her face like a billion times. I don't know. But this is by Halsey, the singer. She deals with some stuff. This is called Post Traumatic by Chantal V. Johnson. I have no idea. Not a clue. Can Vivian live ecstatically after what has been done to her? To the outside observer, Vivian is a success story. A dedicated lawyer who advocates for mentally ill patients at a New York City psychiatric hospital. Privately, Vivian contends with the memories and after effects of her bad childhood, compounded by the everyday stresses of being a Black Latin woman in America. She lives in a constant state of hyper-vigilant awareness that makes even a simple subway ride a heart-pounding drama. It's a debut from a stunning talent. Post-Traumatic is a new kind of survival narrative featuring a complex heroine who is blazingly and indelibly alive. With razor-sharp prose and mordant wit, Chantal V. Johnson performs an extraordinary feat, delivering a psychologically astute story about the aftermath of trauma that somehow manages to brim with warmth, laughter, and hope. So this is called Post Traumatic. I think it deals with PTSD. I'm not 100% sure. Then we have these two big books. This one is a graphic memoir. It's called RX by Rachel Lindsay. And this one says, in her early 20s in New York City, diagnosed with bipolar disorder, Rachel Lindsay takes a job in advertising in order to secure healthcare coverage for her treatment. But work takes a strange turn when she suddenly finds herself on the other side of the curtain, developing ads for an antidepressant drug. Day after day, she sees her own suffering in the ads she helps to create, trapped in an endless cycle of treatment, insurance, and medication. Overwhelmed by the stress of her professional life and the self-scrutiny it inspires, she begins to destabilize and finds herself hospitalized against her will. In the ward, stripped of the little control over her life she felt she had, she struggles in the midst of doctors, nurses, patients, and endless rules to find a path out of the hospital and the cycle of treatment. A searing debut from a bold new talent, RX is an unforgettable story of being treated for a mental illness, treating mental illness as a commodity, and the often unavoidable choice between sanity and happiness. And it's a graphic novel, guys. We love those, right? Oh yeah, this is gonna be super easy. I didn't know it was a graphic novel, though. That's cool. And then the last one I have, it's kind of self-explanatory on its own. No need to go into things. But this is a workbook, and I'm going to work with this. It's over Mind Over Mood. Change how you feel by changing the way you think. See? So that is all of the stuff that I got for mental illness and mental health and all that fun stuff. Alright, so next we're going to jump over to the only book I have that I don't know what category to put this in, but this is Kelly Ripa's book, Livewire. It's long-winded short stories. This is literally a book of short stories. I don't know if they're all from her. Hold on. I don't know. I know this is going to be fun. I guess maybe these are short stories. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure, but it's Kelly Ripa, so I picked it up, of course, and it said short stories on it, so of course I grabbed it. Alright, next we have another graphic novel here. This one is by Noelle Stevenson. This is The Fire Never Goes Out, a memoir in pictures. I have no idea exactly what this is about. It says on the back, a collection of personal comics that span 8 years of her young adult life. Author-illustrator Noelle Stevenson charts the highs and lows of being a creative human in the world. Whether it's hearing the wrong name called at her art school graduation ceremony or becoming a National Book Award finalist for her debut graphic novel, Nimona, Noelle captures the little and big moments that make up a real life with a wit, wisdom, and vulnerability that are all her own. Featuring comics that were previously published online alongside expanded and never before published pieces, it finds Noelle turning an important corner in her creative journey and inviting her readers along for the ride. So it's just, I guess, a memoir. Author Nimona. I don't think I've heard of Nimona yet. Not sure. Alright. And next I have I Miss You, I Hate This by Sarah Sadie. I think this is something to do with long distance, maybe? Possibly? I'm sorry, guys. This is going to be a really long video for the library haul. It says, I miss you, I hate this. The lives of high school seniors, Parisa and Gabriella, couldn't be more different. But despite their differences, they've had an us against the world mentality since the day they met their freshman year. Whatever life has in store for them, the pressure to get good grades, the litany of family dramas, or the heartbreak of unrequited love, they'll always face it together. But everything changes when a virus puts the lives of teenagers at risk and abruptly sends the world into lockdown. Suddenly, senior year doesn't look anything like they imagined. Their high school experience has been whittled down to students and teachers trapped in little black boxes on a computer screen. As the pandemic rages on, Gabriella risks her safety to help her family pay the bills, while Parisa, debilitating anxiety threatens her perfect facade. Through it all, Gabriella and Parisa stay in touch however they can, relying on text, email, and FaceTime, and as the whole world is being shaken up by the crisis, even their steady friendship will be put to the test, proving that distance doesn't always make the heart grow fonder. Sarah Sadie is the acclaimed author of Americanized Rebel Without a Green Card, and reminds us that the best way to weather any disaster is by sticking together even when you're forced apart. So this is going to be like a bunch of like IMs and text messages and all that fun stuff in between this. I didn't know that. That sounds like a lot of fun. I didn't realize this was best friends and not lovers. I just saw I miss you, I hate this. So that's cool. Alright, and the last little section we have here is a bunch of books that are based on like thrillers and suspense novels. So this one is If I Survive You by Jonathan Escoffery. I have no idea what this is about. It was on display, and you know those damn books on display always get me. Says in the 1970s, Topper and Sanya flee to Miami as political violence consumes their native Kingston. But America, as the couple and their 2 children learn, is far from the promised land. Excluded from society as black immigrants, the family pushes on through Hurricane Andrew and later the 2008 recession, living in a house so cursed that the pet fish launches itself out of its own tank rather than stay. But even as things fall apart, the family remains motivated, often to its own detriment, by what the younger son Trelawney calls the exquisite raking compulsion to survive. Pulsing with vibrant lyricism and inimitable style, sly commentary, and contagious laughter, Escoffery's debut unravels what it means to be in between homes and cultures in a world at the mercy of capitalism and whiteness. With If I Survive You, Escoffery announces himself as a prodigious storyteller in a class of his own, a chronicler of American life at its most gruesome and hopeful. So it sounds just like a survivor story. And that makes sense, I guess. Didn't expect that, but yeah. Then we have Mary, An Awakening of Terror by Nat Cassidy. Looks like this. Mary is a quiet, middle-aged woman doing her best to blend into the background, unremarkable, invisible, unknown even to herself. But lately things have been changing inside Mary. Along with the hot flashes and body aches, she can't look in a mirror without passing out. And the voices in her head have been urging her to do unspeakable things. Fired from her job in New York, she moves back to her hometown, hoping to reconnect with her past and inner self. Instead, visions of terrifying, mutilated specters overwhelm her with increasing regularity, and she begins auto-writing strange thoughts and phrases. Mary discovers that these experiences are echoes of an infamous serial killer. Then the killings begin again. Mary's definitely going to find herself. It's an awakening of terror, blends Midsummer with elements of American Psycho and a pinch of I'll Be Gone in the Dark. Alright, so we have a psycho person. That works. Next we have R.L. Stine's Can You Keep a Secret? Or Are You Dying to Tell? A Fear Street novel. This is part of a series, I do believe. It says, Welcome to Fear Street. You're not afraid, are you? Yes, people hear creature howls late at night. Dark figures roam the woods where even the birds seem frightened to land. Maybe you've heard there's a curse on the street and a curse on those who live there. But a street can't be evil, can it? Can it? That's impossible. The trees aren't moving. What's wrong with me? The ground started to tilt and sway. The crescent moon trembled as if it was about to fall from the sky. So dizzy. Why do I feel so dizzy? Emmy, are you coming home? It isn't safe out there. My sister's voice sounded a million miles away. I tilted my head back, raised my face to the shimmering moon, and suddenly had such a powerful urge to open my mouth and to open my soul, and to howl like a wolf, howl out all the wildness inside me, howl and never stop. So this one just sounds like it's going to be a werewolf story, and you know I don't really care for werewolf stories, but you never know. And then this one was also on display. This is Lies Haynes' Book of Knives, and this just looked like a fun little read. I didn't even read the back. I just picked it up because I was like, ooh, new book. Knife. It's got a ribbon on the knife. Fancy. So I don't know what it says under the sticker, but it says, Nora didn't expect Hidden Lake Camp to be in a state of ruin. Dock full of rotten boards, smashed windows, cabins falling apart. To her new husband, Paul, the camp is the past he'd just as soon bury. Nora agreed to drive north with him to get his elderly parents settled while he makes enough repairs to sell the property. Only a few months, Paul said. The summer camp, however, and its deep lake have other plans. After Nora's first meal with his difficult family, one knife, part of a prize collection, goes missing. By the time the fourth and fifth vanish from behind locked doors and out from under watchful eyes, Nora can barely sleep. There's talk of ghosts, secret rooms, and someone at the summer camp found dead in the tall grass. Unsettling, gripping, and totally original, Book of Knives is a literary thriller that shows how one person's unraveling can bring the whole house down. Sounds so fun, actually. That sounds really good. And the last one I have, I'm so freaking excited for this. It's a Tessa Bailey book. I think maybe you guys can guess what it is, but I'll just show you and we'll be quiet for a second and just give it some praise. Okay. My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. This is her newest book. And I don't know why this says 7 of 2022. Like, this literally just came out. At least that's what I thought. I don't know. I could be mistaken. I'm kind of behind on my watch later list for YouTube and BookTube. So, but this says it was supposed to be a relaxing vacation in sweet, sunny Cape Cod, just me and my beloved brother, but discovering a corpse in our rental house really throws a wrench into our tanning schedule. Now a rude, crude bounty hunter has arrived on the back of his motorcycle to catch the killer and refuses to believe I can be helpful, despite countless hours of true crime podcast listening, not to mention a fulfilling teaching career of wrangling second graders. A brash bounty hunter and an energetic elementary school teacher, the murder solving team no one asked for, but thanks to these pesky attempts on my life, we're stuck together come hell or high tide. I'm just here to do a job, not babysit an amateur sleuth. Although it is becoming less and less of a hardship to have her around. Sure, she's stubborn, distracting, and can't stay out of a harm's way. She's also brave and beautiful and reminds me of the home I left behind 3 years ago. In other words, the insatiable hunger and protectiveness she is waking up in me is a threat to my peace of mind. Before I sink any deeper into this dangerous attraction, I need to solve this murder and get back on the road. But will fate take her from me before I realize the road has been leading to her all along? Sounds fun. I heard that this is supposed to be really, really good, too. So that is everything that I have for from the library, and a lot of this stuff actually is going to be going back here soon. I definitely want to work in that workbook of Mind Over, what was it? Mind Over Mood. I definitely think I need to work in that workbook, and that's going to take a little bit of time and stuff. I need to kind of block off some time to actually do some reading again. To be honest, for the last, 3 days now, I haven't done any reading whatsoever, and I'm very disappointed in myself, honestly, for that. I'm hoping that I can get out of this reading slump and I can jump right back into it. I have not read any books for November yet. Like, I haven't completed a book yet for November, which is very disappointing and depressing. I did, however, complete, I believe, 18 or maybe 19 books in October, so that's pretty dang good. I will be having some videos coming out. I do have a couple of stockpile videos that I forgot to get out. God, you scared the crap out of me. But stay tuned because there will be more coming here soon. I'm also going to be playing some of my, what is it called? Not RBG. The virtual games for Scare Tactic Mondays will be coming back, and Bookish Wednesdays as well. So just stay tuned, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!